to be a YouTube only reading, and it's a companion to the daily tune-in that I just did today. Oh, there it is. That was the card that flipped. And what we're going to look at, so in the daily tune-in, if you didn't catch that, divine masculine and divine feminine are acknowledging that they are back in some kind of communication. They haven't come into a physical manifestation, and they're in that process. And Spirit is telling them to take a pause, to take a moment and work through these last fears. So what I want to talk to Spirit is, what I want to talk to Spirit about is, what are these fears and how can Spirit support them through their fears? So I'm going to pull 6 cards for each of the energies, and we're going to look at what they are afraid of and how Spirit can support them to work through these fears so that they can come into union. Okay. All right, we looked at Divine Feminine's energy first, so let's look at her fears first. Divine Feminine, what are you afraid of, my dear? Well, the first card that flipped was the Wheel of Fortune. So I think Divine Feminine is afraid of luck. I think there's a little bit of her that's like afraid, you know, I haven't had good luck in the past. Maybe I won't have good luck again. Maybe we won't have good luck. Maybe all the pieces are still not in place. Maybe they're still not coming together. And also questions about whether or not this is her fate. Is it really her fate? And what does fate even mean to her? So fear about that. 10 of Swords. She's afraid of getting hurt. She's afraid of a complete ending. For as long as they haven't come together in physical union, there has always been this fantasy of that union. When they do come together, the fantasy is over. So she's afraid of getting hurt, like if it doesn't work out, although I think that's less of the energy. I'm more called to think that she's actually afraid of the fantasy being over. This has been such a motivating thing for her for many decades, I think. And now that it's going to be physical, she's realizing, oh, this is so cheesy, but it's like this scene in the Disney version. Oh my land, I'm going back to my son's early days of Tangled, the Rapunzel story, when they're in the boat together and she realizes that she's afraid of getting her wish because that's all she's ever wanted. And so now she's like, but this was my dream, like, what'll I do now? And he's like, oh, you're gonna dream other dreams. So I think that she's afraid of just that history being over, not recognizing that it's not going to be over, it's going to continue. So, you know, let your heart be at ease, feminine, because this is a fantasy that's never ending. This is the twin flame journey. The world, she's afraid of what the world is going to think. She's afraid of that. She's afraid of all of the responsibility that she has and will have in this very significant union, because twin flames are not just your average like soulmate relationships, and their goals are not average, and they're called together to do things that are on a level that is so large that it is very intimidating. And there's a lot of judgment because there's a lot of people seeing them and having critiques, and so she is afraid. And she's also afraid to face the world and have to admit to aspects of self that have been hidden. She's afraid of the love she feels. Queen of Cups, this is just all this emotion. She's afraid of her emotions, of really just drowning in them. You know, it's been so long and there's all these things between them. I can feel it. If I tap into her, I could start crying right now with relief and fear and anticipation and worry and, you know, regret and sorrow and longing for forgiveness. This is an epic journey, folks. So she is feeling epic, you know? She's afraid of how epic she feels in this real Queen of Cups energy. Eight of Swords energy in reverse. I think what this means is she's afraid of divine masculine sabotaging. If it was upright, I would immediately say she's afraid of self-sabotage. But I think she's afraid of external sabotage. So either divine masculine or others in the group, the potential of what could happen. And then finally, her age-old fear. Page of Cups in reverse. She's afraid he's still too immature or something, or there's still something holding him back from coming in and saying that he loves her. So she's afraid of that. All right, let's look at masculine's fears. Oh, sweet and dearest masculine, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Oh, you are afraid. You are afraid of that. Very afraid of that. All right, all right, all right. Oh my goodness. Divine masculine is so predictable. I mean, you both are. Oh my Lord. If you saw my reading today, then you know that this card came up as one of his fears. He is afraid of looking foolish, and I think he's afraid that he's worried they might not even be able to start again. But he's afraid to take the leap. He's afraid to take the risk. Don't be afraid of me. Don't be afraid of me. I understand why he's afraid, but he doesn't need to be, really. We roar. Okay, but he's also just afraid. He's afraid of death. What's interesting is this image here. I always see this image and it reminds me of something else he's afraid of. So I'm gonna pull this one, even though this kind of fell a bit later in the order of fears, because I think these are related. So he's afraid that when he fully breaks away from this silence that he has maintained, when he fully comes out and maintains silence, he's afraid that this benefactor relationship could potentially be a source of strife. This could be financial, which I feel might be, there's some aspect of that. This could be an actual fear of physical harm. There's a real fear here of that, which is maybe surprising for some in the collective, but this isn't just like an anxiety, like a mental anxiety of like, oh, you know, a panic attack, I'll die if something happens. This is like maybe somebody could get physically injured. So he has a fear of this, and he's afraid of this. Some kind of benefactor relationship is coming up. He's also afraid of his divine feminine. He's just afraid of her. He's afraid of this. He's afraid of her power to be able to control the beast within of herself. Like maybe she won't be able to do that. And he's also afraid like maybe she will be controlling of him, or So he's afraid. He's just afraid of her. He knows she's strong. He knows that she is like just a different kind of energy than he's used to dealing with, and is actually more similar to him than not, which is unusual for him. And so he's afraid of this because he's also often afraid of his own power. So make this sense. He's afraid of saying he's sorry, and he's afraid of hearing the apology he wants to hear the way he wants to hear it. He's afraid of this conversation they have to have about the justice between them. He's not looking forward to talking about it. He's pretty afraid. And he's afraid of marriage and union again, because I do think that this is not the first go around for him, although it could be. But I think he's afraid of the blending of the families. I think he's, if there are families to be blended, I think he's afraid of mixing, and also, you know, this kind of resonates, the mixing of the worlds, the mixing of the two worlds together, and all the things that have happened. I think they're both afraid of, you know, they're here for it in their heart. They love each other, and they've told each other this, and they've heard each other, and they're very happy. Some kind of communication like this has happened, and it has put them in this really amazing space. But now they are just afraid of this outcome, ultimately. So, what can they do? What can be done? Let's look at what Divine Feminine can do to feel supported. What can Feminine do to feel supported in these fears she's having? Okay. She needs to release the need for swift action. She needs to release this, cut away the need for this to happen quickly, because it may not be able to. So release this need. Some of your fears are really exacerbated by this sense of time. And if you can not worry about how quickly things are happening, some of the fears you have are going to dissipate. You need to transform in some way. And also just put an end to these fears. It's like, how can you be supported in these fears? Kill them. Kill them. And then finally, I think this is for you specifically, don't try to make any movements right now. Just wait in the material world. Do all of your work right now in the internal world, and don't make any material world movements. Just come into balance internally. Work on these fears, and I'm going to pull another card from the Work Your Life deck to get another message of support for the feminine. Tune in to the portal of your heart. As long as you are tuned into your heart and what your heart feels and what your heart has told you, and your heart has just told you loud and clear how he feels. The collective that I'm talking to right now is a collective that has been in separation and is no longer in separation. There has been a communication, and the communication is clear, but their physical union is delayed. So their inner temple union, their 5D union, she needs to go into that and rest there and just really hold strongly to that union, hold strongly to all the evidence that has come forward that she has now. I love that. All right. What can divine masculine do to support him in these fears he's having to work through these fears? 3 cards, please, Spirit. 2 more. Wow, Spirit. I love Spirit. Okay, so divine masculine, you are called on at this moment to understand that you already have all the tools that you need to do what it is that you need to do, and focus on actually bringing this into manifestation. And remember that when you are calling on these tools and going in to do what you need to do, there is a higher power that you are connected to that is guiding your movements. When you make this gesture and you use your tools to call in, you are connecting with this force. So you are fully supported in what you are doing. That should help you put aside these fears, okay? The other thing that should help you is no longer seeing your queen this way. Who is she really? This is your queen. She's afraid of how much she loves you. She is not going to withhold like this. So, Spirit put the card out this way to show you, turn your back on the idea that your queen is hard-hearted, and know that this power that she has is just that. It's just power, and you don't need to be intimidated by this energy. She loves you, okay? And finally, do not idolize her. Do not idolize her anymore. She is your mirror. She is your reflection. So when you're holding her up as this star, which this is a reflection because she has the same fears with you, then you are holding yourself, you're just making yourself so afraid of what it's going to feel like to come in. And finally, what other message of support? You're already doing it. Stop overthinking and keep facing your true north. You are already doing it. You're already doing it. You see your feminine. You hear your feminine. You hear the connection. You hear that she loves you. You know she's going to embrace you. You're excited. Just do it. Don't wait. Just do it. I know Spirit said wait, but Spirit said wait till you work through your fears. And I think that Spirit just helped you. So now, just do it. Divine masculine. Take the action. You are a man of action. And woman, you are a divine and holy temple. And the only masculine that can enter a divine and holy temple is a king. So when your king comes in, let him come in. You are ready, both of you.